So, you've got your board all measured and ready to go. You've checked with a friend. You've made sure that all your measurements are as good as they're going to be. Nice straight lines. You made sure to use your square to make sure everything's good. You're ready to start cutting. Let's talk about what safe cutting looks like. The first thing you want to do is make sure you're goggled up. Wood chips can go a lot of different places. The other thing is to make sure that you've got a nice open area where to do your cutting at. Okay? You don't want this sitting on top of anything. If you've got to take binders or notebooks and put them somewhere else to be safe, do that. Then we got to talk about what tools we could use. There are two ways we can cut this in this room. We could cut it using our jigsaw, or we could cut this using our handsaw. Now, the handsaw is really useful for these cross cuts, right? The jigsaw is very useful for these diagonals. Especially if you've got something like me where I've got a knot here, I may want to use a jigsaw for that because cutting it with a handsaw is going to take a long time. So let's go ahead and do some cutting. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure I've got a clear area. The second thing I'm going to do is make sure my open side is my right side right here. And I'm going to clamp my workpiece down. So take my clamp. Make sure everything is secured. Now the clamps all work very differently. And I'm going to use the jigsaw. You can either ask somebody for help with the jigsaw or you can get your certification. Yeah, that knot was really tricky. Now I'm making the two most difficult cuts with the jigsaw so that I can hopefully pass this tool on to somebody else and they can use it. We do not want to hog the jigsaw. Oh, repositioning your work, very important. It's better to move your work around than to try to be in an unsafe position. Okay. So now I'm going to do some of my cross cuts here. First thing I'm going to do is make sure my open arm, my arm I'm cutting with, is to the right. I'm going to make sure my stuff is secured and clamped down. And I want to make sure it doesn't move too much. I want to put an arm on my workpiece to help steady it. And I want to make sure that I've got a nice line between my saw, my elbow, my shoulder, all where I'm cutting. And I pull back on the saw a little bit to get a good groove. And once my groove is where I want it, slow down as you get to the end and get a nice, good, clean cut. Repeat this process until you've got everything cut out. And when you have them all cut out, we're going to talk about the next step, which is making a rip cut.